All right, today we're diving into something I think a lot of us can relate to. We're cracking open a brand new 132-page study to figure out the secret code, the secret to making online classes feel less like you're just logging into a database and more like you're in a real human classroom. So let's get right into it. I mean, have you ever felt like this? Just staring at a screen, feeling more like a username in a list than an actual student? Totally disconnected from the teacher, from the other students. It's a feeling a lot of us know all too well. And that feeling is exactly what's at the heart of the research we're breaking down today. And this isn't just some abstract academic problem. The researcher himself, Dr. Joshua Fitzgerald, he says it right here. He built this entire study from his own experience as a student. That feeling of isolation you see in the quote, that was the personal driving force behind all of this work. Okay, so that brings us to the core problem he was trying to solve, which the research calls the online disconnect. And it really is this huge paradox, isn't it? I mean, we have all this amazing technology to connect us for learning, but at the same time, both students and teachers are saying they feel more isolated than ever. So why is that? Well, this study really digs into that question. Which leads to the next big question. Does this feeling of connection, what the researchers call rapport, actually matter? I mean, is it just a nice, fuzzy feeling, or does it have a real impact? Let's take a look at the stakes involved. So it turns out rapport is not just about feeling good. The data is super clear on this. It directly boosts student learning and performance. It makes people feel like they actually belong. It improves the whole academic experience for students. And get this, it even makes teachers more satisfied with their jobs. It can literally be the thing that keeps a student from dropping out. The bottom line here is simple. Rapport is an absolute game changer. Okay, so if rapport is so important, how do we actually build it online? To figure that out, the study zoomed in on the two main ways we learn in the digital world. And this is where the real investigation begins. So let's just make sure we're all on the same page with the terminology here. First, you've got synchronous learning. Think of it like a live television broadcast. Everyone's watching at the exact same time, just from their own couches. You're separated by space. Then you have asynchronous learning. That's more like binging a show on Netflix. You watch it whenever you want. So now you're separated by space and by time. And that's a much, much bigger gap to bridge. And this idea of rapport is exactly what the study set out to measure. It's not just about, being friendly. The official definition is a mutually beneficial, trusting, and pro-social bond between a teacher and a student. So we're talking about a real, measurable connection here. And all of this leads us to this single, biggest question of the entire study. You'd think, common sense tells us that being live in a synchronous class, seeing each other on video, that has to create a better connection, right? It just seems obvious. But is that what the data actually says? All right, let's get to the results, because what this study found, well, it might just surprise you. It might flip what you think you know about online learning completely on its head. Okay, here it is, the big reveal. Just look at these numbers. For asynchronous courses, where everyone's on their own schedule, the average report score was 35.49. For synchronous courses, the live ones, it was 37.66. They're practically the same. That difference is so small, it's not statistically significant at all. So there you have it, the main finding of the whole study. It turns out that being live on a video call, it just wasn't the magic bullet. The format itself, whether it was synchronous or asynchronous, made almost no difference in how connected students felt to their teachers. So that begs the question, right? If the format doesn't matter, then what does? What actually predicts whether a student feels a connection? Let's start by looking at the asynchronous classes first, the ones where you're separated by both space and time. Well, the data pointed to two things that made a huge difference. The first was teacher responsiveness. Basically, how fast and how helpfully did the teacher reply to questions? The second was teacher humor. Did the instructor show a little personality, maybe crack a joke? In a class where you never see the person live, these two things were pretty much everything. And you don't have to take my word for it. You can see it right here in what the students themselves said. My professor responded quickly to emails. Just that simple act. It sent a powerful signal that the teacher was there, that they were engaged and that they cared. It made the whole thing feel real. Okay, so that's asynchronous. Now, what about the synchronous classes, the live ones? If just showing up on video wasn't enough to build rapport, what behaviors actually did move the needle? And would you look at that? Teacher responsiveness shows up again. And this time, it was the single strongest predictor of rapport. It seems like being quick and helpful just matters, period. The other big factor was something called social presence. That's just the feeling that your teacher is a real, engaged person on the other side of that screen, not just a disembodied voice talking over slides. And this student quote just nails what social presence is all about. Making lecture videos with themselves in it make it more personal. It's that simple. When you can actually see the teacher's face, their expressions, it just makes the whole experience feel more personal, more human. Okay, so we've looked at a lot of data, but what does it all mean in the real world? Let's boil all of this down into a simple, actionable playbook for anyone who wants to build connection in an online course. When you get right down to it, it's really 3 keys. Step 1, be ultra responsive. This is the big one. Quick replies, timely feedback, it's the single most important thing you can do no matter what format you're in. Step 2, show your personality. Especially in those asynchronous classes, using a bit of humor shows students there's a real person back there. And step 3, cultivate social presence. In live classes, it's all about being seen as a real, engaged human being, not just a talking head. And really, this is the common thread that ties everything together. At the end of the day, it's not about the technology. It doesn't matter if it's live or recorded. What students crave is the feeling that their instructor is a real, caring, and responsive person. It's that simple and that powerful. So what this research ultimately gives us is a blueprint. It proves that building connection online isn't some random accident. It's a direct result of specific, intentional actions. And that leaves us with a really important question to think about. How can we start designing every online course not just to transfer information, but to build genuine human connection?